Welcome back, grade 10s. All right, let's start unit 6. I think you guys are going to like this unit. I think you'll find it really practical and usable for your everyday lives. Lots of you already have jobs, and I know that, and lots of you will probably have jobs soon in your lives, and this will pertain to all of that quite a bit. Today, we are going to talk about income sources, okay? And it's just going to be a quick lesson on ways that we can earn money, and then we'll move on to wages, salaries, and pay periods in the second video, okay? All right, so let's talk about income sources. When you get your first job, usually, it would be something like babysitting or mowing lawns, because most of us try and have some sort of job before we can actually have like a regular job. So like when we're too young to be employed at a regular workplace. And so you might do babysitting or mowing lawns, like I was saying. So when you babysit, it's all written here, but you can see this, you can usually earn a certain number of dollars each hour to take care of those kids. And that would be called an hourly wage, right? Because the more that you work, the more that you get paid. The time matters, right? And that hourly wage is often just called wages, okay? Now, on the other hand, we have mowing lawns as another example. And when you mow lawns for people, you might get paid a certain number of dollars per yard, okay? There's a little typo there that I'd like you guys to fix. This is supposed to say as opposed to per hour, okay? And we call this piecework pay, which we refer to just as piecework, and that's because it depends on how many pieces or how many tasks you complete, then that's how much money you get, right? So it doesn't matter if it takes you 1 hour to mow the lawn or 10 hours, you're going to get paid the same amount because you're just getting paid to mow the lawn. Okay, so those are two examples that might be relatable to you. I know I did both of those jobs as a younger kid, like when I was like 10 or whatever, or 12 for babysitting. But there are other ways to earn money, and I'm going to describe them here quickly, okay, these, and then I'll ask you to pause the video to copy these down. I realized it was too hard for me to write everything with this stupid stylus, and so all of these here, and so on all the way down here, they are all for copying, okay, so just pause the video once I explain them. All right, so let's talk about these. So with wages, that's what we just talked about, right? We get paid a set amount per hour, so the more hours you work, the more you get paid. A salary is a little bit different in that you get paid a set amount, okay, per week or month or year. Mostly year, that's the most common one, that's the big one. So when you get paid a salary, it doesn't matter how many hours you work, okay? So if you work more hours, you don't get paid more, you still get paid the same amount. It just matters that you do your job, okay? Then there's contract work. So you get paid a set amount to complete a specific task. Okay, that's the key word here, is a specific task. And once the task is complete, then you don't get any more money. And sometimes, although not always, you might have a certain amount of hours that you need to complete the task within. Okay, so an example would be things like construction or renovations. Okay, so often the people who build houses, builders, have a contract with the person who's building the house, who wants the house built, and they have one task, which is to build the house, and once the task is over, then there's no more income source, right? There's no more money getting paid, and oftentimes they do have a deadline, right? So we want you to build this house by July 31st or whatever, and they would be getting paid a set amount to complete that house. Okay. Then there's commission, which is a percentage of whatever you're selling. So lots of you know what commission is, but just in case you don't, usually these are sales jobs, and you sell stuff to customers, and then you'll get a percentage of those sales as your own income. And last but not least, it's piecework. So again, you get paid a set amount per action completed or item created. Now, this probably sounds very similar to contract work to you, which would be true. You guys are right if that's what you thought. Contract work and piecework are very similar. However, the main difference is that piecework is usually small stuff, right? Like mowing a lawn or tree planters are piece workers. So they plant a certain amount of trees and they get paid per tree, whereas contract workers are usually doing bigger jobs like building a house. Okay, so when you do piecework, you're doing probably a lot of small tasks over and over again, and you get paid per item that you create or job that you finish, and then over time you can build up your income, whereas a contract is usually a larger sum of money that would keep you busy for a long time. Okay, all right, pause the video, copy these down. Then we're going to do the examples at the bottom. Okay, hopefully you have copied them down, and here we go. Let's do these examples. So we're going to talk about, in this case, if these jobs are paid by wage or salary. Okay, and the reason I picked these two specifically is just because they're the most common. Like, most people earn their income via wage or salary, and we're going to see most examples in this booklet based on those two types of income, although we will look at the other three later in the unit. Okay, teachers. If you didn't know this, teachers get paid by salary. So this means that I get a certain amount of money per year to create the materials that I give to you and then teach it to you and then mark it and all that stuff. And whether I work more hours per week or less than another teacher, doesn't matter. I'm getting paid the amount that was already set at the start of the year. Okay, gas station attendant. This is an hourly job, and I imagine some of you might even know somebody who works at a gas station. It's pretty common, like late high school or early university job, and people who work at gas stations usually get paid per hour. Okay, an administrative assistant is similar to a secretary, a little bit different, so like kind of what Mrs. Henry and Miss Boulay do, but not quite the same. And for this one, it depends where you work. So if you work... I don't know. I used to work at a dentist. There's an example. And I got paid per hour. Okay. I was the administrative assistant there. Did lots of, filing and phone calls and stuff. Wasn't that interesting. And then I do also know that there are administrative assistants at places like financial institutions, like investment banks or investors' businesses or law firms. And oftentimes those employees will get paid by salary. An accountant is 9 times out of 10 paid by salary, so we're just going to put that there. Most accountants work at an accounting firm. They get paid by their boss. That's it. Okay. If an accountant worked on his or her own, then they might earn a different type of money. They might do contractor piecework, but most accountants earn a salary. Okay, construction laborer. This is a wage job. Okay, so the people who are doing the physical construction are usually paid by hour, and the person who's overseeing them might be paid on salary, but the actual laborer who's doing the actual building, paid by wage. They're an hourly worker. Okay, lawyer. These actually could be both again. Okay, so most lawyers work through a law firm, or they're the lawyer for a business specifically, and so they'll get paid by whoever's in charge there, a salary per year. But some lawyers don't have a firm, they might just work on their own, and so then they would probably have a wage because they would charge their clients a certain amount per hour that they work. So there's both options there. And same thing for a nurse. Most nurses are on salary, but there are instances that they might earn an hourly wage, like if they were just doing a summer job as a student nurse or that kind of thing. Okay. So in this unit, we're going to look at all of these types of pay, like I was saying, as well as lots of different other things like working overtime, paying tax, etc. That's all written down here, okay? It's not in your booklets, but you can feel free to make a note of that if that would be helpful. All right, we'll see you next video.